This is a presentation of the University of Wisconsin-Parkside.
Your personal life can get you hired. I'm a professional in residence and director of the O'Brien Fellowship of Public Service Journalism at the Deidre College of Communication in Marquette University. So please live tweet. As you can, use the low class hashtag. That way my students can follow you, and also otherwise students like yourselves and others around the country who we've sort of created an identity for low class. And part of what we're going to be talking about. My Twitter handle is @Herbert Lowe. Aaron, what's yours? So you should get used to present when you're in front of people and you know they're tweeting. Let them know your Twitter handle. So that's ARON Johannes. Low class is in black because you check it out, but I haven't populated that as much. So lots to discuss. So this is what we talked about last year. Was there anybody here that was here last year? Okay, a little worrisome here. These are the types of things we talked about last year, and we'll try hard not to repeat it. And so if you, my man Justin made it happen, so I'm up there, 56 views. Come on, Parkside, what's happening? Help a brother out. Get some more views up here. But what I discussed last year had a lot to do with resumes and cover letters and the types of things. So I would encourage you to look at that and try to talk about some other things today. Blogging, we're going to talk about more so digital or multimedia portfolios. So basically how it should look when people come to see your blog. Some about social media, but particularly how to share when you're telling your stories, how to share it. Some different storytelling forms. We're going to have some show and tell, some examples from elsewhere, and then some show and tell, perhaps from in here. How many here have a blog already? Okay, how many of them feel real good about their blog? Okay. So let me see who's in the room. And it's important to know your audience. When you are going out there and telling your stories and sharing your stories, you need to know who your audience is. So I'm interested in who my audience is right now. Who had to be here? So I would contend that no matter what you're going to do, advertising is telling a story for the purpose of what? Getting somebody to buy a product. Marketing is telling a story for the purpose of getting people to focus on a product. Public relations is, getting the public to relate to it. Digital production, presenting a story in a way that is produced digitally. But the point is, you're going to have to tell a story, and it's got to be a good story so that people stay with it. And we want you to be able to tell a story in a way that has empathy, emotion, movement, or physicality. Give me something to look at, or give me something to feel like I'm moving somewhere. All these elements that we're talking about. So why are you here? Just talking about why am I here? Not just because Jeanette made me or asked me. I am here because I believe that it is important for communication students, much more so than maybe business or health sciences or any of these other great fields in the world, that it's important that you know how to tell a story. And yes, I teach journalism, and yes, I have had a good enjoyed my career and various things that have come because of that. But as a communication student, or telling the story, it's just a different form it is. But fundamentally, my dean, when I came to Marquette, he said that journalists were the only ones that could tell a story, 3 sentences, grammatically correct, consecutively. I'll say that again. He said journalists were the only ones who could tell tell a story, 3 sentences grammatically correct. What I'm saying to you is, in this day and age, that needs to be all communication students. That you have to be able to tell stories using grammar, spelling, punctuation, AP style. Is AP style unfamiliar to anybody in the room? Okay, I actually really feel like pointing to somebody and asking a question. Adding tools to your toolkit. You're going to be applying for jobs, and you won't be the only one applying for it. So the more tools that you can add to your toolkit, the more likely is you're going to be hired. So we want to think about that. And no fear. So if I ask for volunteers or ask for you to show me your stuff, your Twitter handle, whatever, don't be fearful. I'm here to help. You only see 56 views, so they ain't like the whole world. That's a joke. No excuses. Oh, I was going to work on it, or I didn't know it was up there. If I can access it, it's online, it means it's live, it means it's public. Own your work. Own your presentation. Okay. Always, never have a presentation without sharing this. Who you are is who you attract. John Maxwell, if you're into leadership, if you're into how to mold and be better for others and with others, John Maxwell is who I recommend. So the 9th law, the 21 laws of leadership, is who you are is who you attract. Think about that. Who you are is who you attract. It means that if you are all that, others who are all that are going to be attracted to you. If you are not all that, others who are not all that will be attracted to you. This is my rule. How you represent you is how you will represent me. So when we start talking about recruiters, if I look at you and your presentation is bad, and you're trying to get a job with me, and you're presenting presumably you got your A game on, how is it a month from now after you have the job, how will you be presenting yourself to me? I'm sorry, to the world. So how you represent yourself is a good indication of how you will represent me. Great advice. I will move through this quickly. So someone once told me that someone once told her that the key to success is to determine your competencies. What are you really good at? Not what your mama told you you're good at. Not what you hope to be good at someday. Not what you want to be good at, but what are you really good at? Then the goal here is, how do you enable other people to access these competencies? Doesn't really make a whole bunch of good unless you want to talk about if you're really good at gardening, and is all you care about is people wanting to know. If you don't care that anybody knows that you're good at gardening, fine. But if you want to make a living at it, if you want to win contests, you have to let people know. The best way to let people know is by telling your story, using the internet, social media, digital portfolios, and establish your legitimacy. Now, how do you know if you've established your legitimacy? People will ask you to speak. People will invite you to be on panels. People will invite you to write a book. People will ask you and invite you to share their story. So, and if you really get good, you start getting paid for it. All right, it's all about developing a mindset. It just doesn't happen. You have to go and say, today and henceforth, I'm going to do the very best I can, and I'm going to make mistakes, sure. I'm going to learn from my mistakes, but I'm going to set out to be the very best I can be, and anything that represents me is going to be the very best it can be. So, telling stories, and what story do you know the best? Your story. First assignment I give my students in class typically is, to write a cover letter. One, it enables me to know what it is they want to do so that I can help them. Two, I give them specific instructions so I learn whether or not they can pay attention to detail as well as instructions. Three, I want to know what their capacity is for grammar, spelling, punctuation, and AP style. And four, it's the story they know best. How can you be a reporter and go out and tell other people's stories if you can't tell your own story? Crystallizing what it is you want. This gets back to determining your competencies, but what is it that you want? For most of you, it's going to be a job. So let's think about what is the job that I want? Well, let's start acting like and presenting ourselves as though we are ready if that job came along. Remember, so many of us want it too. If there was one job out there and they were going to hire somebody from UW-Parkside, you all would be competing against each other. If there's one job in the state of Wisconsin, think about how many people you're going to be applying for. We can go exponentially if you want, but in this global society, any job that's worth having, you aren't going to be the only one that wants it. And so therefore, your competitors, the person sitting next to you, the person coming from wherever, is going to want that job too, and you need to be able to stand out. You also need to be able to demonstrate success. If you can be successful at something that you're not getting paid for, then if I pay you, I have a good sense that you can be successful at what it is you have been doing. I like to say that happiness is being able to do what it is you want to do, even if you don't get paid for it. Success is doing it so well that someone wants to pay you great money to make sure you do it on their behalf as opposed to someone else's behalf. Show your professionalism. We've been talking about that. Hope that's pretty easy to take. And inspire others near and far. You know, so many times you see people are successful because they're doing and telling a story that they really like. Somebody just did a song, you know, Let It Whip, and I'm not just thinking it. But that guy was doing what he likes to do, and he inspired at least more than 160 million people. They watched this video. I was among the 160 million ones that saw the video. I hear it's over 200,000 now, 200 million. But anyway, he's doing what he likes to do, and he's inspiring people. So much to the point it became a cultural phenomenon. So what is it that you can do and that you can, we like to say, where I come from, be the difference? I imagine y'all have something similar to that here. Show you can succeed, show you can write. I tell my students all the time, if you can write, you will always be able to find a job, because there's so few people who can write. Show you can tell stories. Everybody wants to, so many students, they want to be a social media coordinator. What's their qualification? Well, I know how to tweet. I know how to post to Facebook. No, they don't. Knowing how to use the tool does not mean that you can apply it correctly. So I'm looking for someone that can apply it correctly. Everybody wants to be a social media coordinator. I need a content originator. I need you to be able to originate content, because I can tweet it out. I'm good at that, but I don't have time to develop all the content that I need, so I need somebody that can help me originate content using text, audio, video, data visualization, social media, images, all these tools you need in your toolkit, and I want you to be able to demonstrate on your digital portfolio with your blog that you can use all these tools. And show you can offer a fresh and informed perspective. The assignment my students had over the last 2 days was understanding the difference between a point of view and sharing a perspective. And there's a difference. I invite you to look it up. Google search. The difference between a point of view and perspective. Everybody's got a point of view. They say everybody's got an opinion. But people who can really offer perspective are people who are valued more. And show you can grab an audience. This is this part, I love it when I see, any student that's got 26 followers or 200 followers but 13,000 tweets, might as well be texting. Because it's doing a whole lot, saying a whole lot, but nobody's seeing it. So, again, you're not going to get paid, you're not going to be asked to speak, you're not going to establish your legitimacy unless you have an audience. Everybody wants to get a job, and trust me, I can look, if I have a job and I've got these 2 or 3 candidates, and one of them's got 3,000 followers, and the other 2 got 200 and 250, well, they may be all equally talented, but when one tweets, that's going to be a whole lot better for me than the other 2. So, every tweet that you do should be constructed in a way that enables you to get at least 1 follower. And show you can evolve. Your students, if you get an assignment or you have something that you do and you tried it, it didn't work, that's a story. What is it that I intended to do? What did I try to do? What was the outcome? If it worked, great. Success. If it didn't work, great. What did I learn from it? So how can you evolve that's telling a story. And I love when I can read something, and I'm going to hopefully show you a couple of examples of someone trying to talk about an assignment they did, and then sharing what happened. Like one student, she had an assignment for the Milwaukee Neighborhood News Service. It's a nonprofit operation that sends students out into the community to write stories. Well, the editor couldn't find her for 2 weeks. Turns out she had lost her notebook and didn't want to come and tell the editor she couldn't do the story because she lost her notebook. Okay, well, when she finally had to own up to it, I was like, write a blog post about it. What did you learn about it? Sometimes you just got to come bring bad news. What could be the worst part about that? About disappearing. Now you're developing a reputation. Losing your notebook once is not going to be a reputation, that's a mistake. Not being able to be found, that's what's going to be remembered. So I'm encouraging you to look at it. Twitter teaches me to write succinctly. Twitter gives me confidence as a writer. Twitter offers me a sense of what my audience wants. Twitter shows me the value of capturing reaction. Twitter makes me feel like I'm part of a community of writers. And Twitter reminded me that sometimes it's okay to be funny and sarcastic when writing. The other thing that's really important is after writing my first draft of the story, I went through it and removed all the words I didn't need. Every sentence in this story, except for one excerpt, is now 140 characters or fewer. Why is 140 characters or fewer? Why is that relevant? Say it. It means it can be tweeted. What I would want you to recognize is you're writing blog posts or writing whatever it is, if you can write it within your sentence within 140 characters, it's going to be shorter sentences, you're going to avoid run-on, it's going to have punch, the pace of it's going to be so much better, it's going to be a better written story. So I encourage you, 6 ways Twitter made me a better writer. Mallory Tenori, Mallory, M-A-L-L-A-R-Y, Tenori, That's her Twitter handle. And then this next one is how to write a Twitter bio that'll make you stand out as a journalist. And you'll find this. Write down the headline, how to write a Twitter bio that'll make you stand out as a journalist. do a search for me, but that's called your resume. I'm going to be looking at many of your tweets tonight, and the first thing I'm going to look at is A, what's your avatar? Do you look like you want people to look at you? Hopefully the photo's not going to be cut off because your BFF. It should be like a portrait. Actually, the same portrait that's on Twitter should be on Facebook and LinkedIn because that's how you develop a brand. But I may be asking too much policy on that. But the second thing is, I'm going to look at what your Twitter handle is. Hopefully it's going to be very close to your name. And the third thing I'm going to be looking at is your resume. I hope to be able to know who you are just by looking at your resume. 160 characters, making it blue. But if you find this, that'll be of help to you. And remember, your competitors have one. Not bad. And we should be able to go here. Before I get to beware the recruiters. So I got my iPhone. I see somebody's following me on Twitter. I go to see who they are, and I can look at their top 3 tweets and decide right away whether this is somebody I want to follow. If this is somebody who's just musing out there, then I'm not going to follow them. But if this is somebody who has retweeted something that somebody's good, I'm looking for information, I'm looking for personal, and I'm looking for news. I'd encourage you to tweet 3 times a day, 1 personal, 1 news, and 1 information. So, sir, what's your name? Trent. Trent?
Yeah, Trent.
Okay, so what would be a news tweet about what's happening here now? Right, but you'd say a lot more.
Yes.
What's your name right here?
Amanda.
Amanda? What would be an informational tweet about this?
What time? And how long? And what
Okay.
kind
Be a little bit more compelling,
of?
interesting,
Like what your seminars is going to be on.
what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? Something that you, okay, so, tell me something personal about happening now.
We're talking one-on-one.
We're engaging. He picked me out of the crowd. Why do you do that? Where I feel special. That's what I'm getting at. Let me know who you're there. Now notice my student here, Sarah. Sarah's getting the photo right now. She got up. She's doing some storytelling. And she's changing her point of view. Sarah's from somewhere in Illinois. Where?
The western suburbs of Chicago, Lombard.
Okay. Thank you. This is Sophia. These are pretty people.
Hi.
She's from Silver Spring, Maryland. And I've got Julie from Medina. Does that say right? Ohio, outside of Cleveland. She wants to say Cleveland. But I care about actors, so I can say suburban. And I've got Liz Navratel. She looks like a student, but she's actually an O'Brien Fellow. She's one of the 3 journalists that come to spend this year spending time here. She's from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. She got a big Twitter game. She didn't know she's going to be driving me around, but I appreciate it. So anyway, we are Marquette. We'll get to that later. Sorry. But anyway, so I just introduced her. So you can either decide that's news. You can decide that's information. But what I'm getting at is, don't just tweet because your instructor told you that. Get into the habit of doing so. All right, beware the recruiter. Spelling, grammar, punctuation. First thing we're going to look at. Trust me if I say that if it ain't right in your cover letter, your resume, your digital portfolio, your blogging, it's going to be end of story. Clear and concise writing. Remember, if it's too long, if it's giving me a headache to read it because your sentences are too long, I'm going to move on. One recruiter once told me that he may get 75, he may get 30, he may get 300 applications for a job. He is going to give each one 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds. They've got to impress him. 30 minutes, 30 seconds, 1 minute, they've got to impress them. So make sure that your first impression gets right to the point of what you can do. Descriptions, roles, inciting work. Don't just tell me, show me. And if you can do multiple things, let it be known. Can you write? Can you shoot? By this we mean video. Can you edit? Can you perform on air? Social media, etc. Now, have somebody else look at your work. Somebody smart. You can be funny, but don't be too funny. Check all the links on your digital portfolio. And what I mean by that is you're hyperlinking to other people and they've changed their website. They haven't updated your web link. It looks like you haven't been really paying attention. Visuals matter. Look at your work and consider would you hire you? And be honest with yourself. Would you hire you? Oh, really? No questionable conduct. For any of you who have a Twitter account that's private, I'm asking you, why are you bothered? No need to be private. If it's private, I have to wonder why. Not too much, not too little. A blog post or whatever you may wonder is too long. Just tell the story, don't overdo it. But if it's a good story, don't leave me hanging. One error is one too many. Don't be arrogant. Don't be afraid to take risks. Remember those things I said earlier in the blue screen. Okay, digital portfolios. Everybody write this down. Take a picture, whatever. She tells you a whole bunch of tools there. A whole bunch of, there's going to be lots there. She used to teach at the University of Maryland. Missouri, I'm sorry. I used to teach at the University of Missouri. And you'll find that very useful. More than we can talk about here. First impressions matter. Your portrait does matter. Ideally, everybody should have a portrait in which you're looking at the camera and you look like you're ready to work. For a college student, you look like you could be okay if a recruiter knocked on your door and said, please, I'd like to talk to you. And that means professional, or go to student media and ask the photographer, can you please take a picture of it? Whew, did I say that again? Remember being too text heavy. Remember older eyes. There are some recruiters that can be old school, they can be new school. Take the time to find out. Take the time to find out. If it's an old school recruiter, they want text, they want you to send them a packet, but most people now are expecting you to send them something digitally. As a matter of fact, some companies will only take it digitally now. Remember what I said, 60 seconds, 90. And the home page, I'm going to show you some home pages. Sometimes you may want to make sure that if they never get past the home page, it tells them at least something that makes them want to remember you by. That's all. Free website templates abound. WordPress, Weebly, Tumblr, Wix, Flavors.me, Squarespace, About Me. Has anybody else got a favorite? Press.com. Press.com is a new one. A certain fellow named Edward Snowden has a website now. He let everybody know on Twitter yesterday to please come to freedom.press. They probably gave it, oh my God, talk about the publicity. There you go. Advertising. I have my students use Weebly only because it's easy for me to teach them to use WordPress or whatever. Where it's not a web design class, you're not web design experts, but just have something. As you get further on, you can pick whatever you want. But Weebly's free. My website, herblow.com, was built on Weebly, so it can be done. Store your content in the cloud. These are just things that are tools that you can use. Consider the look, logo, and lingo. Be consistent. If you're going to have something that says very visual, pick the right colors. Have it make sense. Don't have people looking and say, why is this website all tore up and they don't get to your great stories? As a matter of fact, don't have anything get in the way of your stories. Name the logo at the top left or center. I shouldn't have to go look for your name. Customize it to fit your personality. I'll show you some examples soon. Don't be too fancy. KISS. Anybody have a clue what that means? Exactly. So pick templates that keep tabs present at all times. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I found sometimes students will have what they call sub-navigation. In some templates and some sites, you'll click it and you'll roll over, it'll scroll down, and you click that, but most of the important thing is actually right on the content, but people miss that. So I try to limit the navigation points. I'll show you a couple of examples, because you want to make it easy to find things, but you want to make it really hard for people to miss them. Keep in mind how you access and assess websites. What bothers you about when you go to a website? Well, don't do anything you don't like. Okay? You can't defend it, then if you can't defend it on somebody else's site, don't do it on yours. And think about how people are accessing your site. What do you like when you go to a website? There's a good chance many other people like that. And be mindful of first-time visitors. There are people who come to your site for the first time. They should be able to have as good a user experience as people who come all the time. Will the homepage be most visited? What are your thoughts on that? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, I will argue no. Most people are going to get to your site by two ways. What ways might they be? What's one? I'm sorry? Somebody? Search engine. Google, Bing. What's another way they're going to get there? You mean email?
No, like last week.
Social media. Those are the two ways people are going to get to your site. Presumably, you're going to be tweeting it out. Other people are going to be tweeting it out. That's how they're going to get there. Anybody here actually read a newspaper? I got one.
As a whole.
How everybody else? How does everyone else access the news? Where? Internet, social media, right? Your app, right? So, I'm going to show you my site. You may have already seen it. I make it so that my homepage, that's where my new things. I've essentially gotten rid of my homepage. But you can find other things there. But you're going to see some homepages where it's very clear that this is just a homepage, what I call a front porch. If you come to the website, social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, all those things, email. These are all avenues to your home. You're all trying to get people to your house, to your website. Now, they may come in through the back door, they may come in through the porch. Some of you got really nice homes, they come around the back, down the basement, up the thing. But you want, once they get in there, you want it to be something really good. But very few people are actually walking up that front door and knocking on the front door and saying hello. And as you know, most people are there without you even knowing. That's why you want to make sure the house is looking good when you get there.